Hey, it's Ed. Today, I'd like to do a little run through with Pop Drummer from Lumbeat. You can see it here in this App Store view right here. Version 1.05 just came out today, and I'm super happy. They added a feature for exporting and importing MIDI maps. Now, if you're not a MIDI map user and you have Pop Drummer, then this may not be for you. But if you're thinking about using it with other drum apps and you want to use that MIDI in and out of it, the MIDI maps feature is going to come in really handy. So you may want to keep on watching if that's the case. So let's dive in. All right, in AUM here, I've got Pop Drummer loaded, and I've just picked a sort of a random kit here and pattern. I've got DM10 here. I'm going to show you how that interacts with it. I've also got BeathHawk, which I use often as a drum kit or just to get inspiration. There's some great drum kit sounds, even in the built-in kits in BeathHawk. I've got Digistix 2, which is another one of classic drum apps that I love for many, many reasons. And then I've got Helium over here. It's a MIDI sequencer, and I've got a drum pattern put in. I've got a custom grid loaded up right here that's built in called Drums GM MIDI. And I've loaded up a pattern from Groove Monkey here. So, just to give you a little background. All right, let's get back to Pop Drummer. So let's say, you're in Pop Drummer and you got your groove set up right and your jam, your song, whatever. And now you want to take it somewhere else, right? Now you can export it. You could export the MIDI. You can export the whole thing as a track. A set of tracks, right? You can do the mix down, all that good stuff. But I like to mess around with experimenting a lot and changing things around and see how they sound. A great way to do that is, just to hook it up to another drum machine and see what happens. I got a nice pattern here, so I'll play this for you just so you have a feel of what it sounds like by itself. Let me make sure I got everything unloaded here. So we're just going to hear Pop Drummer. Let's give it a shot. Pretty basic sound, right? But the fills and the jam and all that kind of stuff, that's where the real benefits of the Drummer app come in. And it's not going to show up in here. This isn't going to be like a big demo of all the cool features. I just want to show the MIDI portion. So we're going to focus on that. There's my track, right? I just picked a pattern. I haven't done anything special with it. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, okay, I want to see what this sounds like in my DM10. I've got a mapping that I've created here called DM10 V10. I had several revisions. This is the current one. And what you see here on the left side are your drum kit pieces, all the kit pieces. And on the right side here are your note mappings. Now, this could be real tricky to get through. I'll probably do another video on how you decipher all this. But basically, what I've done here is I've tried to map the things over to this DM10 app. Now, it doesn't have every single one of these, so what I've had to pick and choose which ones are mapped. So I've got 9 options here, right? And there's no cowbell in the Lumbeat app, so I made some approximations here. So I'm going to share these MIDI maps in the description, so look for them there, and you'll be able to download them from Google Drive and try them out. I can't guarantee they're going to be perfect, but hey, it's worth a try. And let's then, to show you how this sounds, let's mute out Lumbeat. We're going to bring in DM10, and we're going to play now on that. We're going to let DM10 run. There's my pattern. Now, what I really love, and this is where the fun really comes in here, in DM10, it doesn't have the features like the fills and all that kind of cool stuff and jam and all that kind of stuff, but it does have a ton of kits, which I just love going through these. There's so many different styles. So you can just take your Lumbeat pattern or what have you. You pick a kit like Akai, right? I'm just picking them at random. We go in here and we hit play. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, let's try the Ulysses. Yeah, all right. Let's try this Casio. These are all vintage, right? Kawai. Let's try one of these. All right, I'm not going to go through all these, but to just give you a flavor, here's an acoustic kit. Ludwig. Classic. Oyster. Let's try a DM10 kit. I love these. Here's another one. Dr. E. Tiny Drops. Analog. I mean, I can go on and on. It's got got synthesized, I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? But you get the idea. You can go crazy with this stuff. If you've got DM10 and Lumbeat and you want to mix them together, you can experiment with all sorts of different sounds at the click of a button. It's super easy. Let's move on to BeathHawk. So here's BeathHawk, and what I've done is I'm just working with the built-in sounds. The top two, EDM Factory and Urban Factory, are free with the app. When you buy the app, they come included. I got a lot of extra stuff, which has really cool drum kits, but you'll hear the ones that are built in here. Like there's quite a few. I got the progressive loaded right now. And the way it's mapped out is I've approximated where the drum kits map out. And again, it's going to be a mini map that I created. I'm going to share it out. So it's an approximation. Not everything's going to be exact. The kick's probably pretty close. The snare is probably pretty close. Some of the other pieces, maybe not. You can mess around with those, right? But this is a starting point. So if I go over here and I load up now, I go here to my 2. That's the latest one right here. Now, these note mappings are completely different than the other one, completely different than the built-in GM and all that stuff. By the way, a quick note, if you do use the MIDI out, make sure you tap this send notes on, otherwise you're going to get no MIDI out. So make sure you do that. Now that we've got our BeathHawk mapping loaded up, let's just listen to these real quick here. Now, you're not going to get all these. There's 16 pads. We're going to use some of them. So let's give this a spin here. So now I'm playing through the BeathHawk app. Not bad, right? Let's quickly bounce over to, mute that. Let's quickly bounce over to Pop Drummer to compare. There's Pop Drummer with the kit loaded. Here's BeathHawk with one of the kits loaded. Let's try another trap. Extra EDM, pretty heavy. I mean, there's a lot of kits in here. Let's try D&B, that's a fun one. Load. All right, there you go. You get the idea, right? Let's try Digistix. Let's go back over here, switch this, and we're going to use GM, which is, I believe, built in to Pop Drummer. We're going to go over here. I've got a Digistix kit loaded called Electronic, and I'm using my bank. I'm using my GM bank so that the mapping is correct. So the GM on the Lumbeat side and the GM on the Digistix side should agree without any kind of messing around. It should just play. Let's try it out. Here we go. Unmute Digistix. Let play again. There we go. All right, now we're playing in Digistix. You know, and so you can pretty much do this with anything. You can build your MIDI map to the specification you want. You map those kit pieces. Go in there and map the ride, hats, cross stick, whatever, to the mapping that you want on the destination. Save that mapping. Then you can export it to another, to somebody else, or maybe future other kits. Hopefully, from Lumbeat, we'll have an ability to import these mappings. I don't know yet. I know that this one allows you to export and import into Pop Drummer. I'm hoping that you'll be able to export and import between Lumbeat apps like Funk Drummer and the others. That would be really cool. We'll see. Just for the last thing I'm going to show you here is I'm going to put this on GM, actually next to the last thing. I'm going to leave this on GM. I got a copy of Helium over here. Now we're going to go the other direction. We're going to go from outside in. So this time the mapping's going to go from the external Helium and the MIDI coming from there into Lumbeat. So that mapping's going to tell it like, okay, kick goes to this, snare goes to this, right? And so it works both ways. You can use that mapping Lumbeat out or into Lumbeat. It's going to work both ways, however you have it set up. Let's get this one loaded up here. Unmute Pop Drummer. Let's go over here. We're going to put on sound module, all right? And then we're going to turn on Helium. This should be ready to go. Let's see. And if we go to Pop Drummer, we can see the kit's playing. Change the kit. Change the kit again. We've got our mixer. We can adjust the the effects on these individually. We can adjust the effects over here on the delay, the reverb. If we tap here, we can apply a delay temporarily while we hold the button down to that snare or a reverb, right? You know, you've got full control over everything here. You can hit this little dice on the right to the left of the drum kit, mix up the kit. You can change your reverb type, you can change the delay time, you know, all sorts of stuff that you can do coming into Pop Drummer. And I can come in from anything, right? Because I got this mapping. Once I've got that mapping set up, whatever app it is that I want to bring into Pop Drummer, I can just bring up that MIDI map and I'm ready to go. And I can share it with somebody. Somebody can design one. I can get it from them. It's all sorts of possibilities. It's real fun. Last thing I want to do is unload that. Let's unload that. Let's go here and let's just do one more. We're going to bring it in. I'm going to show you this in reverse again. We're going to go from DM10 AUM. And this is specific mapping within AUM because DM10's MIDI mapping is different within AUM than outside of AUM. Just a quick side note. So that's why I have that labeled as it is. So let's get this guy, it's back, it's in sound module. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to go from DM10 into Pop Drummer. Now I've got a pattern loaded up here in DM10. You go here in song and load whatever you want. I've got one that I created specifically for this demo. Now you'll notice that the steps are in orange if you have DM10. You double click and that's gonna give it a hard hit. The yellow is just like a regular hit. There's two levels of hits on the step matrix. You can control the actual levels in of the playback in DM10 with automation. But if you're playing MIDI back, you get two levels. You get low and high. So I've chosen high so that the sound comes through on Pop Drummer. Just a quick note on that. And now the other thing I've done here is I've gone in and I've changed the routing. I was playing before, so now I've got the output from DM10 drums into Pop Drummer. So I made that change in the background. You didn't see that part. Now if we hit play here, we should hear it. So now here is DM10 driving Pop Drummer. And you can choose your kit and, you know, adjust the effects and all sorts of stuff like that. So, you know, it's great if you have stuff that you've already got in another app, great, you know, that you've created, all these sort of, you know, songs, patterns that you've created. You want to see how it's going to sound in Pop Drummer. It's super easy. You can use that mapping. If you have DM10, you can try mine, create your own, save it, share it, whatever you want to do. That's about it. Again, a big thumbs up to Pop Drummer. It's great fun. All right, so that's about it. And I really appreciate you watching. If you don't have Pop Drummer, certainly worth checking out. You could use it with any app that you want with the MIDI. Just get that MIDI mapping set up. Try mine. If you have BeathHawk or DM10, feel free to try the ones I have. Make your own. See you next time.